Hello everybody. I set myself up to do these videos every day, so hey, I'm going to do a video every day. It's about 8:30 in the morning and it's already roasting hot, but I have found a place of shade in the desert. And look where I am. This is such an interesting place. Such an interesting place. So this is close to Big Water in Utah, which is on the Utah-Arizona desert. And behind me now, can you see the place is covered in hoodoos? There are many, many of these hoodoos. There's 3 separate areas where you can find around here, but it's a couple of hours walk. And you get an echo. Listen to this. Echo! But that's not what we're here to talk about. So, I'm going to talk about becoming a person. Now, this is a book that you can find by Carl Rogers. Becoming a person. That's what he called it anyway. We might call it becoming yourself. And this ties into absolutely everything that I stand for. Basically what it is, this is getting out of your story, getting out of your ego. Someone asked me a little while ago, can you tell me how to get out of my ego? And I kind of laughed and said, is that all you want? Because of course we can't get out of our ego. Well, let me not say of course, but it's pretty tricky. But we can get a distance on our ego. And I think if you can get a perspective on the voice running inside your head, you can relativize it. You can stop thinking that it's you, okay? Like the feelings inside of us, the thoughts inside of us feel most real when we forget that they're thoughts. We don't have a choice about these thoughts. Thoughts just come up. And then we think they're us. And maybe they are us. And then we label them, we give them significance. There's a part of our conscious mind that goes, yeah, that was me. We fit those thoughts to our expectations and we create our reality. And where did that all begin? Because we never chose to have those thoughts. They just bubbled up. Is that the subconscious, the unconscious, the non-conscious? Is that the vast supercomputer which is running all of you except the thinking bit? They're all metaphors, right? But the point, I think, with becoming a person I hesitate to say it, but let's go on and say it, growing up. Owning your experience. Is recognizing that there are reasons why you think the way you think that are typically to do with the experiences that you had when you grew up. And so they teach you how to label your current experiences. They teach you what you need to worry about, what you need to digest from your past. And the stories based around those experiences define who you think you are. They define the elements of your personality, the hooks that you latch onto. And there are so many ways that you can go with becoming a person, but let's just go with that hook on reality. So we define ourselves based around our responses and our experiences to chance occurrences that have occurred in our past. We come to learn that we're good at problem solving, that we're bad in emergency situations, that we are quick thinking, that we are inventive, that we are creative, that we are determined, that we're scared, that we're bad with people, that we're unable to focus, that we're scared of snakes, we're scared of falling in rivers. Who knows, right? These stories that we come to define ourselves by, what's utterly essential about that is that they were chance occurrences. And because of those chance occurrences, we've ended up with a label of ourselves. What's going on, a la Carl Rogers, a la becoming a person, is being able to take a step back from that. I'm not going to go far down that route, but there is an element about considering who is doing the thinking. Who am I? What am I? When am I? Where am I? So becoming a person is being able to, let's say, observe yourself from behind your mind. Just taking a step back, considering that the thoughts which are coming up, which you didn't really choose to have, are then being labeled by your conscious mind based upon the perspectives that you have grown up to learn are you. And that somebody else with a different set of perspectives, faced with the same circumstances, the same life challenges, the same current situation, let's say, as you, would come up with a different interpretation because of their different stories running in their head of what they think they are capable of and what they're not. So it's funny, becoming a person almost means not becoming a person. There's a curious, multifaceted nature to becoming a person. It's like allowing yourself to not be what you thought you were. Allowing yourself to be other stuff, even that you can't define that, even that you don't need to define that, even that you couldn't possibly define that. One way that you can do that is by considering your responses to current situations, whatever they may be. Following that feeling, whatever the feeling is. Finding a quiet moment, closing your eyes, and following that feeling back. When was the first time I ever felt that feeling? Okay, and when I felt that feeling that first time, did it feel familiar? And if it did, then there's probably a time before that. And keep going back and back and back to the point where it feels like the first time you ever felt that feeling. And then consider yourself in that situation, what you learned from that situation. Revivify it, live through it as if it were now at that moment. And consider how that has built an element of your story, an element of today's reality, an element of what is your worldview, of you, of the world, of other people, of life turning. And consider at that time that you were having those feelings long, long ago, how it just occurred, that you didn't really have a choice in the matter. Things occurred, and then you labeled them accordingly. And it's a little bit like hitting the front pin down in a bowling alley. If you can find that first one and you knock that one down, you kind of go, all right, so that's where that came from. You can then look at many, many subsequent experiences that were seen through the light of that first experience and come to be labeled in the same way, and come to compound your perception of who you are, who other people are, what the world is, and the interplay of everything. And you can see it for what it is, which is just a chance occurrence. And I think this is a critical part about becoming a person, okay? It is relativizing. It's getting out of your ego, even though you remain in your ego, even though you're still thinking about the things that you're thinking, even if you're the one behind the one thinking. Who is the observer on the one who was observing? And who was the observer on the one who was observing the observer thinking? They're kind of all us. So you kind of have to accept the idea of a lack of control over that, because we can't really drill to the end of that. There's always another behind. There's always something behind. You can find religion through this. You can find faith through this. So the end result then of becoming a person is that you kind of accept yourself. You come to own yourself. You come to own that what you consider to be you is a series of archetypal stories, you can read about that with Jung, that have come to give meaning to your perceptions. And they feel right to you, and maybe they are right. But what they definitely are is a set of chance occurrences. And what we know from the universe, from the world, from everything, is that everything is changing. Even these rocks, even though they feel so permanent, so historic, so everlasting, they're changing. Everything is changing. And so our perception of what we are and what we're capable of and what the others in the world are capable of and what we should and could be and what our higher purpose is and what our lower purpose is and what's right and what's wrong and what's good and what's bad. You can start to see these things from the position of the observer of the thinker. And that's freeing. It's freeing. So I think I'm going to leave it there, because that is sufficient of a conundrum for one morning. But the end result is a sort of a beautiful richness to life. You're no longer shoulding all over yourself. You're no longer labeling, well, not to the same extent. And you kind of give yourself a break and you give the rest of the world a break, because you start to see people from a different perspective. start to see the universe from a different perspective. You stop trying to control everything and accept that there's so much going on around us. And when you stop trying to control yourself, when you start opening up to what is there, there's such a lot. There's such a lot. And the opportunities are everywhere. It's just a case of getting out of your story. There you go. That's my thoughts for the morning. If that reverberates, let me know. If you have questions about it, let me know. I hope it's useful. They're getting quite existential, these videos, but I like that. Yeah, let me know. If you have any questions, send them, and I promise you I'll reply. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.